Right, well, South Africa could be forced to import maize at exorbitant prices if a drought in the northwestern Free State continues. Maize production is at a critical level in the two maize-producing provinces. Now, they produce 72% of the total white maize harvest in the country, with virtually no crop planted this harvest period and the optimum planting date having passed. Now, this will certainly pose a problem. We're joined this morning by CEO of Grain SA, Yanni de Villiers, to tell us how the country's economic growth could be affected by this. He's in Pretoria. Yanni, good morning, and thanks for your time. Just give us a better idea of where we find ourselves now because of the drought and the limited maize production.
Yes, good morning. Thank you very much. Just to give you some idea, if you take the N1 to the east of the N1, we plant between the middle of October, middle of November. And Mpumalanga, KZN, Eastern Cape, most of those parts have been planted a little bit late, but fairly good within the planting period. But then in the west, we produce about 60% of what we need in terms of the maize. And we have to plant before the middle of December so that the frost doesn't catch us sort of April, May. And that is where we didn't receive rain. I think the first rain sort of came at the 31st of December, which was already outside of the window. We guess, that we have planted about 60% of the fields in the northwest Free State and maybe 60–70% in the northwest. And that is going to put South Africa under pressure.
So where are we expecting that, or where will we import from, Yanni, and how will this affect the price and affordability for what's a staple for many households in the country?
Yeah, I think by the end of this month, we will get from government an indication via the satellites, what is the hectares that we've really planted. That will give us a better idea. But we have already seen some intentions from traders to import. There's some ships on their way, mostly from Southern America, Argentina, Brazil. That's probably the areas where we will be importing from if needed. Thus far, we've seen that they are looking to import some yellow maize for the feed industry in the Western Cape. And that is mainly because our local prices have started to increase and it becomes more profitable for them to import into the Western Cape instead of railing it down or transporting it down from the middle of the country to the Western Cape.
All right. And what does this actually mean for farmers? Yes, our concern is the end consumer, where the households will be able to afford this. What is the impact on farmers? What will this actually mean for them?
Yeah, I think if we look back on 2016, when we also had a drought, I think the farmers were in a much better financial position facing that drought. But ever since the drought of 16, we had two good crops, but we had very low prices, and the farmers haven't been able to repay their debt of 2016. And I think we're in a lot worse position than we were at the previous drought. So we have seen farmers that, if they miss this season, they can only plant sort of end of this year, and they will only be able to harvest, middle of 2020. And that put a lot of pressure on farmers to pay their debt and the installments and the wages to the workers and all of that. So the farming sector is really under pressure. And if we start importing and looking at the prices that have increased already locally, we will probably see, products like maize meal and all the animal feed type of products, like your dairy products, your meat products and chicken, poultry, those sort of things. All of those will feel this drought in the prices on the shelves.
Okay, so dire consequences on many levels. Thank you very much for that. That's CEO of Grain SA, Yanni de Villiers, just explaining to us how the country's economic growth could be affected by the drought that's affecting maize crops at the moment. Well,